Essential skills and habits you need to work with others. There are numerous essential skills and habits you need in order to work well with others. Developing the proper habits early on helps put you on track to things like higher pay and leadership opportunities. Since more and more companies are making the decision to hire within, these things are more important than ever before. Many of these things will probably seem obvious to you. However, we are not always conscious of them or may take them for granted, hence there is a need to emphasize them. Please note, this is not a complete list of the skills and habits you need to succeed, but it definitely gives you a good place to start. As you can probably see, a lot of these suggestions do not take much more effort than remembering them. There is no reason to panic and think you have to change your entire way of life. Although these things may seem insignificant when you look at them separately, failing to do several of them adds up to a bigger problem. It really can mean the difference between keeping a job or getting fired. This is especially true in today's economy. With so many people actively looking for employment, employers generally find it very easy to fill their open positions. Take responsibility. It is always important to take responsibility for things that you do, especially when something goes wrong. No one is perfect. All but a few unrealistic employers realize that. If you make a mistake and claim that it was not your fault, not only are you not telling the truth, you are also giving the impression that you weren't in control of the situation. By taking responsibility, you will probably notice two things. Firstly, your coworkers will likely be more willing to help you correct the problem and help you to succeed. Secondly, these same individuals will be more comfortable around you, knowing that you are honest and will never place the blame on someone else. Keep an open mind. Even in situations where you know you are 100% correct, it is always advisable to keep an open mind. This is especially true when you happen to be in a managerial position. Why? If you are never open to new or alternate ideas, you may come across as someone who knows it all. When this happens, people typically get defensive very quickly and it is downhill from there. It is much more productive to show a little bit of humility and concern about truly finding the right answer for every issue and situation. Because everyone has a different problem-solving process, teamwork really has the potential to resolve issues and come up with great ideas much faster. Honor your commitments. Always try to allow enough time to complete projects in a timely manner, even when something unexpected comes up. It is much better to give yourself more time than necessary to finish whatever you are working on, rather than to underestimate the time needed to complete the assignment. This way, you do not have to worry about disappointing your employer or your colleagues. Go the extra mile. Always follow up on things, whenever possible. This accomplishes two things. 1. It strengthens workplace relationships. 2. It provides you with important feedback regarding your performance. Practice proper hygiene. Regardless of whether you are working with the public or in a back office, practicing proper hygiene is essential when you work with others. No one wants to be around someone who smells bad or looks like they slept in their clothing. This does not mean you have to dress like the rich and famous. It simply means to shower daily and come to work looking and smelling presentable. If you are on a tight budget, consider purchasing clothing at local thrift stores. You can pick up great deals on clothing that is perfectly suitable for work. These stores typically stock a wide variety of business attire at fantastic prices. You just have to be there at the right time, which is on the days that the store gets deliveries. Turn off your phone. Almost everyone has a cell phone these days. If you work in a large office, constant ringing can be a major distraction. Unless you need your phone for work purposes, turn it off or put it away. Quickly reading a text message when someone is speaking to you is extremely rude. It gives the impression that your phone is more important than your job. Make a habit of checking your messages or making quick calls during your breaks or lunch period. Share credit. When applicable, sharing credit with your coworkers is a sure sign that you work well with others. Not only will that person or individuals like you even more, you will probably gain a high level of respect as well. On the other hand, if you do not share credit when credit is due, you'll gain a reputation as someone who is selfish and out to sabotage everyone else in an attempt to get ahead. If you happen to get away with this without anyone complaining, do not waste your time celebrating. In reality, the truth usually prevails, and you won't get ahead, you may just find yourself in the unemployment line instead. Do not interrupt. Have you ever been in the middle of a conversation, only to be constantly interrupted? It is annoying, isn't it? For that reason, never be the interrupter. Even if you have a great idea that you cannot wait to share, wait until it is your turn to talk. Take a deep breath and relax. You will be sharing your news or idea before you know it. Here is a little secret. There are individuals who are not all that impressed when you talk, regardless of how fantastic your idea. They would rather talk about themselves first. So, when you let them do the talking first, it is a good way to get them to love you. After that, they may be all the more receptive to what you say. Smile. The act of smiling is often referred to as a person's most powerful gesture. Science can back up the fact that individuals who smile often are not only happier, they are more successful as well. Even better, smiling does not cost you a penny. It is free to smile and watch the world, or at least the people you work with, smile right back at you. It is interesting to note that some training modules for phone-related customer service positions requires agents to keep a small mirror by their phone. This way, the agent can make sure they are smiling when they speak to the customer. Believe it or not, the person at the other end of the receiver can usually hear the smile in the agent's voice. It makes for a much more pleasant interaction between the two, and many times higher sales. Utilize resources. Working well with others, to the best of your ability, sometimes involves utilizing resources. Depending on where you work and your job description, many companies provide all kinds of options for you to take advantage of. These resources can be things like seminars, training sessions, fitness programs, no-cost safety equipment, mental health and family counseling, and more. If you come across a good resource you think would benefit your workplace environment and your coworkers, do not hesitate to mention it to your manager or boss. Who knows? You might even get a small reward or bonus for taking the initiative to recommend something that might help your company succeed. Do not be a noisemaker. In the event your employer allows you to listen to music or something similar, do not be a noisemaker. Wear headphones or keep the volume at a non-distracting level. Remember, not everyone will have the same taste in music as you do. If your coworkers do not enjoy what they hear, you'll probably make it more difficult for them to concentrate and get the job done properly. The time to make noise is after the workday unless you're a rock musician or an auctioneer and the like. Respect boundaries. Your job might require you to share a space with your coworkers, whether it's a cubicle, office, or vehicle. If you are near others while you work, make sure that you respect their boundaries and encourage them to respect yours in return. Try not to have phone calls about non-work related matters if your cubicle mate is quietly focused on a project. Also, try not to divulge too much about your personal life, because this may be too much information for some people. These boundaries will differ from person to person, so if you are not sure if your behavior is going to annoy your coworker, it may be best to ask first. Learn to let go. Once you have had a dispute with a coworker, it can be difficult to get your relationship with them back to a state where you can work together effectively. If the dispute has been resolved, the best thing that you can do is move on to focus on work. Of course, your coworker will have to focus on letting go too. If they still seem upset over the issue, see if they are willing to talk about it. If they tell you why they are still not satisfied after the dispute was settled, do what you reasonably can to make things right between the two of you. If problems persist between the two of you, it may be best to inform your boss or supervisor. For further support. At Talent and Skills Hub, you can be supported by our instructors, counselors, and mentors on employability skills and other personal and professional development. You can book an appointment for one-to-one or group tutoring through our website, ts-hub.com.